Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello, hello. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light. And yes, I started this episode 6 minutes early. I did because I am kind of run down today. I know I have not been getting enough oxygen to my brain. I know I have not been getting enough sleep. And so I'm going to take 6 minutes early to finish up, hopefully early, to then take the night off. I'm literally going to take a night off. Sounds brilliant and beautiful. I suggest you do the same. All right. So we are on Reincarnation, written in 1969. Used all of his different readings on reincarnation, compiled some stuff. There are so much source material with the ARE. There's so much. This is the actual copy from 1969. I see Lori came in. Good to see you, sister. As folks usher in, because I did start a bit early, I will tell you that I have been recording a ton of shorts lately, and also just small videos. So I'm a little bit tired of hearing my own voice. Believe it or not, that can happen, and it can happen quite fast. So today's episode will go for as long or as short as I would like, because I am tired, folks. How are you holding up in the summer? There's a lot of energies opening up and moving and breaking down. It's what a glorious time to be alive. It really is. So Edgar Cayce on Reincarnation. I've decided, because the last time we were here in this book, I realized that I had been skipping chapters and moving things around. So I reviewed where we were and what we missed. We are going to actually be at one of the end chapters, chapter 19. And then the next time we are in this book, we are going to then talk about a previous chapter, the law of grace, and some of his conclusion. So we've only got two more. We got this episode and the next episode on reincarnation. And then we're moving on, folks. I don't know where the book is. We're moving on. But this chapter 19, reincarnation in the future. Well, we are in the future. We're in the future from when a lot of this that is in this chapter was recorded in the 30s, 1930s. I was with my teacher last night in class, and prior to the 2020s, my teachers had been talking about the Roaring 20s, that this was going to be the Roaring 20s, same as in the 1920s, right? And last night in class, she said, yeah, we are halfway through the Roaring 20s. And I just stopped. And I'm thinking, what year is it? And it dawned on me, yeah, we're in 2025. I remember I was recording once with Lucky a few months ago when we were talking about, when do you think the change in humanity is going to really hit or begin? And I was like, oh, yeah, this is years off. We're fine with this and that. And Lucky said, no, I think it's going to be more like 5 years. And I was like, 5 years? Well, then after we're live, I'm like in the kitchen going, where is Lucky getting 5 years from? And then I stopped. I went, what year is it, Courtney? And I answered 2025. And I went, oh, shit. It's 2025. Yeah. Everybody listen to Lucky. Yeah. 5 years from now. I think I'm stuck in the 90s. I don't know what year I'm in. Time is fluid. Let's say it that way. Time is fluid. I see that seeker came in. Good to see you, my dear. So I said all that to put it into perspective as to when Edgar was speaking about this stuff, right? Reincarnation in the future, that future is now. That future is now. That was a big part of why I started the Edgar Cayce Life Skill Studies series, is to bring 100 years forward, right? 100 years forward, because a lot of Edgar's prime time as the sleeping prophet is like the 30s. Well, we're headed into 2030s. Mind-boggling, right? Wow. So, chapter 19, reincarnation in the future. In the material world, coming events always cast their shadow, even if these are discernible only to the hindsight of history, like retrospect. Like, oh, wow, we should have seen that coming. We are living history, by the way. Every day is also the present, the future, and the past, all in one. Edgar Cayce was always reluctant to force his theories on others, but in the speeches he made to the people at the Cayce Hospital in the early 30s, he indicated his own beliefs of what lay ahead. He saw a development in man's faculties, a broadening of his five senses, and by implication, a rational and logical acceptance of deeper truths. By application. So that's not just reading about stuff, that's not just hearing about stuff, that's applying it to your life. Will bring forth rational and logical acceptance of deeper truths. We call application experience. If reincarnation lies inherent in these deeper truths, it will be automatically recognized and accepted by the human race as they attain to what plateau of deeper perception. Cayce himself was already able to read minds and see auras, and described his reactions in these simple words. Ever since I can remember, I have seen colors in connection with people. I do not remember a time when the human beings I encountered did not register on my radar in with blues and greens and reds gently pouring from their heads and shoulders. It was a long time before I realized that other people did not see these colors. It was a long time before I heard the word aura, and I learned to apply it to a phenomenon which to me had always been commonplace. I never think of people except in connection with their auras. I see them change in my friends and loved ones as time goes by sickness, detection, love, fulfillment. For me, the aura is the weather vane of the soul. It shows which way the winds of destiny are blowing. Many people have had experiences similar to mine, not knowing for many years that it was something unique. So ask yourselves, at any point in your life, like even when you were maybe a small child, before the world came in and took away all the splendor, were you able to see auras? Think about it for yourself. Or maybe it was just some fleeting moment that maybe you didn't understand what was really going on, but you had gone on vacation and you were feeling really good and joy was present within. And then all of a sudden you started seeing these colors. Mm. This is why people think that it's a phenomenon, but for Edgar, it's commonplace. I have heard many people comment on the prevalence of eyeglasses among our civilized peoples. They seem to consider this a bad thing. Could it be that it is a result of constant straining on the part of our eyes to see more and to bring us to the next step of evolution? I think this is true and will be accepted in the future. So, yes, I'm wearing glasses in front of you right now because I'm getting older and also I'm tired. My eyes are tired. My eyes are very tired right now. Um, it is interesting in the AI focused world what that actually does to our eyes. And when we think about our eyes, that is our perception of things. We filter so much through, we filter so much through subconsciously, consciously, all the stuff, all the subliminal messages, everything. But it's not just um that. It's our eyes will be changing. I mean, Edgar just said it. So even when I teach like with patrons or personal students, and we're talking about like the third eye, right? The third eye and how it can be awoken, kundalini, it opens up and it's as if we have a whole new sight of things, right? We're seeing things differently. We're seeing more of the world as it is and all the special entities and things within this world around. Well, I tend to teach with students that we can also develop those eyes. We can choose to work towards what I call putting on a new set of glasses and taking off our glasses, putting on a new set of glasses, taking off our glasses. I remember working with one student, very high powered job, right? And so always in like board meetings and meetings. And I said, why don't you at some point, because she was working on more observer or more connecting, right, with individuals, seeing things from a different perspective. I said, I can't remember what it was. I said, have some kind of trigger on you that makes you remember to do this. But how about halfway through that meeting, you remember, and this is all metaphorically, it's not like she's putting on actual physical glasses. I said, all of a sudden, run your fingers through your hair and think to yourself, I'm going to put my other glasses on. I'm going to put my new set of eyes on. And then just sit back and watch, observe, hear what they're actually saying, hear what your employees are saying. Because many times we're talking through energy, we're not talking through words. So we can develop new eyes. I call it seriously putting on your new glasses. I also want to tell you, those who they might not be aware of it, but like my eyes are not round. My eyes are not round. So when I was a kid, they called it some kind of stigmatism, yada yada. My eyes are oval, very much like imagine all the eyes that people draw of, ancient symbols. Those eyes are never round, if you noticed. Well, except some of them. Most of them are oval. My eyes are actually oval. They are not round. Interesting, right? Food for thought. You can practice putting on your new set of glasses at any time. An observer, in wanting to see beyond, right? Beyond. So then he was asked a question. What will it mean to us if we make this next evolutionary step? Well, it would mean that all of us will be able to see auras. So whomever is asking Casey, is asking, what does that mean for us humans? This is his answer. An aura is an affect, not a cause. Every atom, every molecule, every group of atoms and molecules, however simple or complex, tells the story of itself, its pattern, its purpose, through the vibrations which emanate from it. As the soul of an individual travels through the realms of being, it shifts and changes its pattern as it uses or abuses the opportunities presented to it. The human eye perceives these vibrations as colors. Thus, at any time in any world, a soul will radiate its history through its vibrations. If another consciousness can apprehend those vibrations and understand them, it, it will know the state of its own fellow soul, the plight he is in, or the progress he has made. Imagine what it will mean. Everyone will be able to see when you plan to tell them a lie, even a little white lie. We will all have to be frank, for there will no longer be such a thing as deceit. Danger, accidents, death will not come unannounced. We will see them on their way, as did the prophets of old. And as the prophets of the old, we will recognize and welcome our own death, understanding its true significance. It is difficult to project ourselves into such a world where people will see each other's faults and virtues, their weaknesses and strengths, their sickness, their misfortunes, their coming successes. We will see ourselves as others see us, and we will be entirely different race of people. How many of our voices will persist when all of them known to everyone? Oh, beloveds, take that in. Take that in. Can you imagine that world? That with these new set of eyes, that based on the vibrations that we are seeing, we can also know all about that person. I love it. As it says, it will know the state of its fellow soul, the plight he is in, or the progress he has made. I think I put a short out there recently that was talking about, walking a mile in each and every one of us shoes. And I'm starting to realize I don't think people know that phrase, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. That means understanding one another through the experiences of that other person. Edgar Cayce is talking right now about imagine a time where the human race, and he said it's as if we would be a whole new race, that through the vibrations we see, through telepathy, through all sorts of gifts and skills and understanding, there goes lying and deceit. There goes, I think he said, danger, catastrophic events, accidents, deaths will not come unannounced. Could you imagine? And this is not the camera in the sky informing people of, oh no, this is happening. This is our own beingness. and being able to see upon your fellow soul brethren their faults, their virtues, their weaknesses, their strengths, their success, their failures, and not with judgment, just it is. It is. Because they can see yours as well. We're not trying to hide anything. How amazing would that be? How would the world change if we did that? Oh, and I apologize, folks. This household has been having like stuffed noses and whatnot. The air where I live, I don't know, we haven't had wind in like 10 days. Let's put it that way. It is the summertime here in the, Tennessee Valley area, which means we are just at the bottom of a boiling pot smoldering with no air. Anyways, that makes a lot of congestion issues. You gotta laugh at it. You gotta have fun. I adore where I live. So you take the good and you take the bad and you enjoy the ride, right? So imagine that though. Like there wouldn't be a possibility of corruption because we all know what each other are doing. There wouldn't be abuse because we would know. Imagine. Oh my goodness. I get excited. I get excited. I get very, very excited about that. Let's get there, folks. We can do it. How many of our vices would persist when all of them are known to everyone? In similar vein, he explained his attitude to the latent power of mental concentration, which is also due to increase in the human race. My experience, so this is Casey, my experience has taught me that particularly every phase of phenomena may be explained by the activities of the subconscious mind. First, let me tell you one of my own experiments along these lines. An experiment I have never repeated. Exclamation mark. In telling you why, I can give you my ideas as to how mental telepathy should and should not be used. Let's talk about it, people. I see that Scotty Boy came in. Good to see you, sir. Looking good, Scotty. All right. So, I don't know if you guys know this. I laugh for a moment because my husband picks on me a lot about when I say do know. I say it a lot. He's always picking on it. Do know. I don't know where I get that from. Um, I don't know if people with like gifts that grew up with gifts run experiments or not. I do, and I have. Because it's a part of that experience aspect of then obtaining more awareness and knowledge and wisdom and understanding as to the responsibility of a gift. So throughout my life, I did run experiments. So when Casey is talking here, that is his own developing the personal responsibility of said gift. And Edgar did have the gift of telepathy in a lot of ways, reading minds. He saw auras. He could talk to the Akashic. Beautiful being, right? I do believe he was gifted this or was awarded it because he had already gone through what humans are still working towards, I guess. There has to be somebody. There always has to be a front runner. That is a sincere, beautiful soul to show us that it's possible and that it's not in corruption and um, nasty manipulation and occult behaviors. Edgar, did he have to study stuff? Yes. And run experiments? Yes. To understand his own gifts and abilities? Yes. But he was a believer in love, not in manipulation. And here's the experiment. Many years ago, when I was operating a photograph studio, a young lady who was really a musician was working in my studio. She had become interested in photography and in the phenomena which manifested through me, the sleeping prophet aspect of it, right? And all these other abilities. One day I told her that I could force an individual to come to me. I said this because I had been thinking about the subject and studying it. I believed that by deep concentration, one should be and able to hold a mental image within oneself, and by seeing, quote unquote, another person doing a thing, one could mentally induce that person to do it. The young lady said, "Well, I believe most of the things you've told me, but this is one thing I do not believe you. You you certainly have to prove it to me." "All right," I said. "Who are two people you consider it would be impossible for me to influence?" "You could get my brother to come up here," she said, "and I know you couldn't get Mr. B to come here either because he dislikes you." I told her that before 12 o'clock the next day, her brother would not only come up to the studio, but he would ask me to do something for him. And the next day before 2 o'clock, I told her Mr. B will come here. She shook her head and said that she couldn't believe anything of the kind. Now, our studio was so arranged that from the second floor, we could look into the mirror and see what was going on in the street below. At 10 o'clock the next day, I sat in meditation for about 30 minutes, just thinking about her brother and wondering if perhaps I didn't overstep myself in saying he was going to ask me to do something for him, because his sister often told me that he had no patience with the work I did. After about a half an hour of this concentrated thought, so beloved patrons, if you're listening, focused meditation, concentrated thought, I saw the boy pass on the street below, then turned and come to the steps. He stood there a few seconds, looking up the steps, then walked away. In a few minutes, he returned and came up the stairs to the second floor. His sister looked around and exclaimed, "What are you doing here?" The boy sat on the edge of the table, turning his hat around in his hands. Then he said, "Well, I hardly know, but I had some trouble last night at the shop, and you've been talking so much about Mr. Cayce. I just wondered if he could help me out." His sister almost fainted. The next day at 11 o'clock, I took my seat in the same chair. The girl said, "If you worked it out on my brother, I guess you can work it out on Mr. B." I told her I preferred not to be there when Mr. B came because he disliked me so much and that he wouldn't know why he had come. She told me afterwards that he came in about 12:30 after I had gone out. She asked him if she could do anything for him. He said, "No, I don't know what I'm doing here," and walked out. But as I studied these matters more and more, I decided never to do such a thing again. Anyone anyone who wants to control another person can do it. But be aware, everything you wish to control in another person will be the thing that will destroy you. It will become your Frankenstein. Hmm. Think about that, beloveds. This is why, if you've hung out at Stars of Morning Light enough, I talk about being responsible with our gifts, that we are not allowed, and that's personal integrity, right? So when you cap yourself with this rule of I'm not allowed to do anything to anyone else, to influence that way, because it's going to come back. It is our Frankenstein. And it's not right. It's not right. But we live in a society that from the hierarchy down, people are pushing each other's wills onto others and forcing things and whatnot. It's a total different ball game when you know within your entire being that you can tap into that focused concentration in your mental state of focused meditation and bring anything to you or control what others do. I got to bring it back to when we were in his biography many, many months ago. And it was not just Cayce, it was all those doctors around him actually practiced this. How much could they induce a thought into another person's mind, and therefore changing the course of that person's day, life, history, what have you? I will remind you, these doctors were using Cayce as like a test a test subject for their own whims, and Cayce was finding out kind of afterwards. Once again, Cayce then, as he matured as a person, just a human, as he matured as a father, a husband, a business owner, he also knew he had to mature within being responsible for his own gifts. So, yes, he ran some other experiments to piggyback off of what the doctors had started just using him. And so, back when we were talking in the biography, these doctors would put Cayce under in a hypnotic state, a very deep meditative state, to speak to the Akashic, but then they realized they could also use it in other ways. And they told Cayce in that state to take a subject, a man, a young, healthy, fit, 19-year-old man, fit, healthy, doing great, and not put a thought into his mind, but to actually induce the thought of those around him, tell them, and also put it in his mind. So, hear me out. Cayce induced the thought into that kid's mind of "You're sick. You are sick. I'm sick," right? Into his mind. But then they went around to all these different shops and locations as they knew that guy was going to travel his morning route. And he told these people, "Hey, we're running a bit of an experiment. It's not dangerous. But when that young man walks in, tell him he's sick or that he doesn't look good. Tell him like, "Oh, you look a little peaked today. Are you feeling good? Oh, you look a little flushed this morning. Are you feeling okay? Oh, do you need a glass of water? You're not looking so good." By the fourth shop or when he got to work, because it was induced psychically into the kid's mind, and then also They add a little bit of sprinkle of society sprinkle, right? A little bit of what others say affects us. By the time he got to work, all of a sudden he's thinking he's dying. He did. He ended up like coming down with like this horrible stomach flu type of situation. He was out of work for like 3 days sick. Think about that as a whole. As a whole. Society and its sprinkles and what they say, how they influence all the words. The moment we tell ourselves something, I can't do this. This world's going to hell. Whatever it may be, we tell ourselves things, and then society gets to sprinkle and help. Interesting. A lot of experiments were run with the doctors. This is one of Casey's personal one as he's learning, developing, studying, folks, about himself. And Blessed Casey said, I've never done it again. I've never done it again, because he understands that we have no permission right to influence another human's will. We can inspire, we can use ourselves as examples, but there is no, unless there's permission, no way. No way. That is taking personal integrity with your gifts, right? That is having an ethics. I used to actually teach spiritual gift ethics. I haven't taught that in a long time. Maybe that's a class I should teach. Ethics for those with gifts. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. So, for as the information of readings say, anyone who would force another to submit to his will is a tyrant. Even God does not force his will upon us. Either we make our will one with his, or we are opposed to him. Each person has an individual choice. Then what part of many mental telepathy play in our lives? For anything good can also be dangerous. I could mention nothing good that does not have its misapplications, its misuse. How then may we use mind reading or mental telepathy constructively? So they're asking Casey, okay, there's nothing in this world that could be great and profound and used for the best results for humanity that also can't be misused. Think of AI. Aren't we there, folks, questioning, wow, this could actually have great achievements, great connections, it could be great. We are not worried about actually the AI. We're worried about the misuse of AI. That goes for all things. And this is Casey's answer. The best rule I can give is this: don't ask another person to do anything you would not do yourself. Can I get a hallelujah? Amen. Yes. Thank you, Casey. Everybody here that does chill with stars of the morning light knows that I have said that over and over again. I used to tell that to all my teenage students, all the people I case managed. I will always tell people, I will never ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself or haven't done myself. That's how we walk a mile in someone else's shoes, by the way. We get all up in it. This is why um, I think I've had like 27 or 30 something jobs because I'll scrub toilets out of a, gas station, and I'll also handle a bunch of money in some big corporation. I mean, I walk a mile in someone else's shoes. Mm, love Edgar. So that is his rule of, this is his best response to, if we are able to in the future mind read, use telepathy, how can we not misuse it? That was his answer. Do not ask another person to do anything you would not do yourself. And this is how we stay away from being tyrants. When a master went down, okay, so then they go into a parable from the Bible, but I think this audience would rather me skip to another part. And how are we doing, everybody? Oh, good to see Scotty in the middle of the day. Those of you who have studied something of the history of Atlantis, and he's referring to inside of his ratings, because there were a lot of ratings. People were asking about Atlantis a lot. There's an entire book, and it's also in many other resources of his. Those of you who have studied something of the history of Atlantis know that such forces of mental telepathy were highly developed there. Numbers of people were able to think with such concentration that they could bring material things into existence by the very power of their will. Form out of the formless. To use such forces for selfish purposes as they use them can result only in destruction. I can't wait until we cover Atlantis. I personally, this is me speaking for myself, I'm over it. I wish we would not be obsessed with Atlantis because hear me out. To use such forces for selfish purposes as they use them, talking about the people in Atlantis, can result only in destruction. We're not going to learn much from Atlantis other than we just keep destroying things. We don't need to know about it. We need to believe that we can do the same and better. That same force of mind still exists, just as it did in ancient Atlantis. The greatest sin in the world today are still selfish and the sorry. Hmm, hmm. The same force of mind still exists, just as it did in ancient Atlantis. I was fixing to get all worked up, folks. Your mind, it's the same mind as then. The greatest sin in the world today are still selfishness and domination of one individual will by another will. Few people allow other individuals to live their own lives. We want to tell them how. We want to force them to live our way and see things as we see them. Most wives want to tell their husbands what to do. Most husbands want to tell their wives what they can and cannot do. Have you ever stopped to think that no one else answers to God for you, nor do you answer to God for others? If a person will seek first to know himself, then the ability to know another's mind will come. Most of those who will practice it for just a little while can develop along this line. But be sure you don't attempt to do God's work. Be connected to your own, and you'll have your own hands filled. We're not here to do God's work. We're here to do our own work. We got enough. We got enough. God's got enough. He's asking us, hey, focus on you, please. Do your job. And don't use and misabuse all the people around you while doing it. Focus on you. I've actually seen this recently in some videos out there. That as if this is a new concept of, I'll read it again. If a person will seek first to know himself, know thyself. Y'all, that's what this tattoo says, by the way. I have a tattoo. Can't really see it. Come on, camera. Can't really see it. On my wrist, right here, it says know thyself. It's actually in the movie The Matrix, when he goes to see the Oracle for the first time, he's in the apartment, above the door in Latin, it says, know thyself. Oh, I'm getting a little spunky today, folks. Getting a little spunky. If a person will seek first to know himself, then the ability to know another's mind will come. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes, but guess what has to happen? You got to walk in your own first and truly know yourself. We are not that different. All humans are really actually the same. It is the similarities within the differences. That's all. Once you can see that you are no different than King Charles. You are no different than the homeless man on the street. You are no different than the rapper who's making a ton of money, whomever it is. Focus on all of the similarities within our beautiful differences. That's why we celebrate differences, because within the celebration of the differences, we actually get to see the similarities. And within that, you will know what they're thinking because you're thinking the same thing. Anyways, I've been watching, I saw that, like, it's being that idea, by the way, I have seen it go through my feed as if it's this whole new concept, which is fine. That's fine. That's fine. As long as people get it, I don't care which way they get it. I don't care. I don't care. It could be new, it could be old, it can be whenever it is applied, implemented, practiced, experienced by a fellow human, more power to them. That gets me excited. If a person will seek first to know himself, then the ability to know another's mind will come. Most of those who will practice it for just a little while can develop along this line. But be sure you don't attempt to do God's work, meaning forcing your will on somebody else's will. Be content to do your own, and you'll have your hands full. We all have the right to tell people our own personal experiences and let them decide for themselves, but not to force them. For God calls upon every man everywhere to look, to heed, to understand for himself. The answers come to each of us as it to as to whether these abilities are worth developing or not. If we have the proper conception of what psychic means, quote unquote, then we know it is the faculty which exists, hence always existed, and is ours by birthright, because we are the sons and daughters of God. We have the ability to make association with the Spirit. For God is spirit, and seek such a worship him. That's John 4:23. When we use the forces within to serve the creative forces of God, then we are using them correctly. Please hear that, folks. This is Cayce talking here, or through his reading, okay? When we use the forces within, abilities, forces, what have you, our will, like if you have abilities and then you attach your will, and I'm hoping to goodness your will is of love, right? Not your will of abusing, misusing, and manipulating others. Your ability is of love. Even if you accidentally use it wrong, right? Like we do make mistakes. That's why we run experiments to see to what degree, right? Like how much am I capable of? Therefore, how much do I have to be responsible for? When we use the forces within to serve the creative forces of God, creation, your creation, the earth is creation, the animals are creation, everything's creation, serve creation, then we are using them correctly. If we use them for our own selfish interests, they are being abused. Then we become even as the son of perdition. Call him whatever we will. And once when Edgar Cayce was in self-hypnosis, he was asked, how should we present the work of the ARE to one of the Orthodox faiths? So, beloveds who, let's say you're gifted and you're just kind of coming into these gifts, but you also don't want to hide anymore. Like, this is who I am, be my authentic self, right? This actually is maybe going to help. And this is how this chapter ends. So we went from humans in the future are going to be like a totally different kind of race. We're all going to understand each other. We're all going to know what's about to happen before it happens to help it, because we can use our forces within with the creative forces. This is beautiful. I can't wait. Come on. Come with me. Come with me. It's fun. It's great. But this is also like this, what we're going to read right now can apply to those who are waking up and like family members might not be. It's not up to us to induce and try to force what we understand about ourselves onto them. We state our case, right? And that's it. We are not here to educate others into trying to forcibly have them believe what we believe, right? This is how he answered. The question was, how should we present the work of the ARE to one of the Orthodox faiths? This is Edgar's response. Invite them to come and see, he answered. Not by imposing, not by impeding, for only those who are in need of answers to something within will heed. Do not disturb them. Do not find fault. For if thy Father God had found fault with every idle word or every unkind act in thy experience, What opportunity would I have had in this experience? Oh, shit. If you if you would know mercy before him, be merciful and kind to those of whatever faith or group ye may find. And I know there were a lot of ye's and yays. I'm going to break this down. So, how do we present ourselves to others who may have completely different thoughts, completely different faiths, completely think that they're opposed to all of this? First of all, we just invite them to come see, to just come experience, see for themselves. We do not push it on them. We do not impose. We do not knock down their door. We invite them to us. And those who are needing answers, he says, needing the answers for something within, they will heed, meaning they will come. Something within them, once the invitation's out there, hey, this is what I do. Family, friends, church. This is who I am. Without having to prove yourself and prove that they should not reject you, that, you know, acceptance, acceptance. No. Why don't you come? Come sit with me. Come see what I do. Experience. Those who, something within them, something within them actually needs to experience that for whatever answers they may receive, and whatever kind of gift you're offering, a reading, a healing, a what have you. The door is just open. This, though, folks, do not disturb them. Do not fault them. For I'm going to take out the thys and this and that. For if God had found fault with every idle word or every unkind act in your experience, what opportunity would you have had in this experience? Oh, shit. When we try to find the faults in others, and this does not matter if it's family, church, friend, foe, it does not matter. When we are disturbing them and definitely trying to scream their faults at them, mm, come on now. Think about it. For if God had found fault with every idle word, so all of your screaming, cussing, swearing, thoughts included, every idle word or every unkind act in your experience. So if God found fault in that, hear this word or this phrase. What opportunities would you have had then in this experience? When we fault others, when we impose judgment onto others in any way, shape, or form, we are we it's like we're limiting their opportunities of growing and expanding. That includes for ourselves. That includes for ourselves. So everybody is talking about expanding and ascension and growth. Beautiful. Yes. I will tell you, if we find fault in others, when we find fault in ourselves, any form of judgment, it takes away from the experience of the opportunities for that growth and expansion. We would never get there. We would never get there, right? I mean, what's the point of having all these experiences without using them for the opportunity of growth and expansion and development? What's the point, right? What's the why then? And everybody, most people here at Stars of Morning Light can, that's somewhat the mentality, right? Give or take, of life lessons, experiences, experiments, all the stuff, karma, what have you. Generally, it's to learn, grow, develop, expand, ascend, whatever for whatever, right? We're not putting so much labels on here, but the moment judgment enters, that stops that experience right there. Right there. And then that's why we got to do it again. And we got to do it again until we lay down the judgment of self and others. That's why we got to do it again and do it again and do it again. Lay down the judgment, folks, because judgment stops the opportunity of growth. Blessed be to all you beautiful stars. Oh, this is why when we finish this book, we are going to actually end on the law of grace. We're going to end talking about Edgar Cayce on reincarnation with the law of grace. Oh, I get so excited, everybody. I really, truly do. Beloved Seeker, Jackie J, Scotty Boy. I know Lori came in. Good. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been a blessing on this beautiful Wednesday. Take what you want, leave the rest. Go forth in happiness. Do enjoy, beloveds. Don't take away from this wonderful experience by judging oneself or others. This is wonderful. And your mind, I'm going to end on this, your beautiful mind. There is no difference between your mind and those that were in Atlantis. There is no difference. Wouldn't it be wonderful to experience and develop the abilities of your current mind instead of trying to find out where Atlantis is, what's going on with Atlantis, what could they or could they not do? You show yourself what you can and cannot do. Know thyself. Know thyself. We don't need to go backwards to go forwards, is all I'm saying. I love y'all. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Have a great week. I am not going to be here Friday morning, but stay tuned. New episodes, new shows are coming, and tons of shorts. As I said, I just keep recording shorts. Love you guys. Cheers. Talk to you later.